Awesome. Hi, everyone. Hi, Estaire. Good to see you.
Hi,
Um,
Yuval.
Welcome to another episode of my BCC, in which I get to speak with members of our congregation. And so today, I'm delighted to speak with Estaire Press. And is there anything you would like to share with us about you?
I grew up in the Los Angeles area. I grew up at Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I was confirmed actually in San Bernardino County at Congregation Emmanuel many years after that, and belonged there until I was in my 40s. So I've had the benefit of really outstanding clergy pretty much my whole life, but especially feel very blessed to have found BCC and the clergy there. The insightful and caring things that I've learned from the clergy, from watching them and from knowing them, and also just enjoying the music that surrounds BCC. Music is a big deal for me. My wife is a musician. I like to sing. I like to sing with the choir. So that's a little bit about me.
Sounds like Judaism has been a big part of most of your life.
Yes, I'm adopted, and I, within the last 10 years, had my DNA done, and I'm actually Irish. But I was adopted from birth by an Ashkenazi Jewish family in Pasadena, and was raised Jewish. We lived around the corner from the temple. Temple was a big deal. My mom was in everything, sisterhood, Hadassah, all of that. My dad was on the board for a short while, although I was too young at the time to remember that. But we went to Sunday school. I loved Sunday school. I belonged to a youth group. The only part of the youth group I liked was the religious stuff. It was like me and my cousin, and then all these heterosexual girls, and all they wanted to do was, chase boys. And we were like, ew! So that's how it was. But I loved it there. And I loved the synagogue I belonged to in San Bernardino. I still have connections with them.
Wonderful. Well, we're certainly glad to have you as a member as well as a choir singer. It's a delight to be in community with you. What are some of the highlights in your time with BCC throughout the years?
The very first thing that I can tell you is that I met my wife there. She actually saw me before I was actually introduced to her. I was introduced to her by Davi and Bracha. Karen and Caroline were also there when we first met. So that's a big deal. The second biggest thing was in 1999, there was a very big trip, like 30 some odd people, 36 people, I think it was, from BCC and from some other places to Israel. And that was an amazing, amazing trip. And getting to know those people, I'm sure you as the Cantor have noticed that there is a camaraderie among the people who went on that trip. We all talk about it a lot. We talk about each other a lot. And those are the people we all kind of feel closest to. Also, singing with the choir is a big deal to me. I enjoy the feeling I get from being in community, as you said, with the congregation while we're singing, and being able to look around and see the impact that singing and your singing has on them is really engaging for me.
Thank you. And I think what you're also pointing out is that you never quite know what programmatic component within a community creates such impactful, lasting memories. And the Israel trip seems to be one of those trips, one of those events that will forever stay with you and have created this special connection with those you traveled with.
Yes.
So thanks for that reminder.
The best trip to Israel I'd ever had, and I'd been a couple of times, and I'd actually lived on an ulpan at one time. So it was by far the best trip. And that community, the connections and the people are really what I think of when I think of BCC.
Wonderful. Speaking of traveling, brings me to the realization that we live in a time where all those things we've been taking for granted are somewhat uncertain, if not impossible, to pursue these days, traveling being one of those things. And so I wonder, what are some of the things that provide you with comfort during this time of pandemic? civil unrest, uncertainty?
I think the first thing, sort of my first line of defense, is my immediate family, my wife and my dog. Partly because we've been cooped up until just a few weeks ago in a small apartment all by ourselves, but also because that's who I rely on for a reality check. I can spin out real quickly into how crazy things are right now. But I'm married to somebody who has her feet on the ground and her head is not in the clouds most of the time, and is very positive, and that helps a lot. Another thing that is important to me is music, and I've discovered all these forms of music and forms of making music in groups online that have been, I won't say discovered, but certainly used to greater extent during the pandemic and during the time that we've been quarantined, on Zoom and on all these other platforms where you can watch somebody singing and pretty soon there's 50 people in the little square, or an orchestra. My cousin's kid's husband is a tubist. I think that's right. He plays the tuba. And he's turned us on to a number of brass selections in that regard. So music has been helpful. Netflix has been very helpful. I've done a lot more reading, serious reading during this time than I usually do. And I find that helps as well. But there's times when, sometimes it's just really tough. It's really hard.
I can relate. Is there anything else that you would like to share about you, about your life with Jenelle, about both of your lives with BCC?
I really did. I wasn't looking for a new synagogue home. When I found BCC, I was newly out at age 43. It took me a long time to sort these things out. And I was also about 5 years clean and sober, and I was attending an HUC event centered around the 12 steps. And Yael was speaking, and she was talking about a gay synagogue. And I had literally come out like 2 weeks before that, and not to very many people. And I was like, wait, what? A gay synagogue? I did not follow up on it, but my mother died about 6 months later, and I had signed up for a 12-step retreat in Malibu. And now I had to bring my dad. And I met Lisa, the rabbi emeritus or emerita at BCC at that, and she was speaking. And I had the opportunity to hear her speak and her talk about BCC. So I decided to come and try it. And I never looked back. I still maintain, like I said, connections with people in the area where I was living at the time, but I immediately started coming into LA, which was an 1.5 to 2 hour drive each way, to do that, to come to services, to come to events, to get to know the community. And meeting my wife and doing things with my wife was just an outgrowth of that. She pointed me out to our mutual friends. And I think I was decorating at a Hanukkah party or maybe a Purim party in the building. And she said, "Who's that?" And they decided to introduce us, and things just progressed from there. So it certainly, BCC helped put me on a better path. And it's still, to this day, it remains new and fresh and interesting. And again, it's the community, it's the connections that I've made with people, different people all through the years.
Thank you so much, Estaire, for opening up and making yourself a little vulnerable by sharing all those things. I very much look forward to singing together with you and making music with Jenelle in the same room. And until then, I hope we can provide comfort to each other and support to each other via this technology and music and studying and just sharing of ourselves.
Well, it's been lovely talking to you, and I look forward to doing that in person at some point. Yeah. And in the meantime, I'll continue to enjoy services and the healing service that's coming up in a couple weeks.
That's right. Thank you so much, Estaire.
Thank you, Bob. Take care.